the RV industry is getting crazy. This is practically equipped like a move-in ready home. Welcome everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV, down at a big Forest River sneak peek display today, where they've got this crazy new thing. It's funny, because they said it's a WDR. And I said, let me guess, that's a washer-dryer room? And they went, yeah, how'd you know? It was just a magical estimation. But the thing is, there's more and more RV manufacturers, especially up in these big fifth wheels, that are realizing that there are some people who either want or need, for various reasons, an RV as an alternative to a home. And that's not exclusively how this has to be used, but that's the first thing that came to my mind, because like we have a built-in dishwasher, we have a nice little handy dedicated desk space, we have good living area, solid entertainment. It's a bath and a half ensuite with a massive front wraparound walk-in closet. Now, usually when a manufacturer does that, they shove washer-dryer hookups up in the front. The trick with that is it eats up a ton of your potential storage space. This one doesn't do that. They made the middle guest and traveling half bath a dedicated laundry room. And I love the fact they gave it like a big chunk of solid surface counter, so you have a spot you can set your laundry basket up, you can fold towels, you can organize clothes. And it's equipped. It's just equipped and ready to go. Again, I'm not saying I don't like the idea of RVs being used as a house necessarily, because that's just not what they're built for. But there's folks that need to do that, and this is again something that's far more turnkey ready in a sense, where you're just in it, you're good to go. And what's cool is all those extra home style appliances are now equipped and included under the factory warranty. And that's a cool key differential detail. Now there's a lot of, this thing has some cool parts, it has some not so cool parts. One thing I have noticed, by the way, a little housekeeping note, there's something weird with my camera interacting with the light package in here, where sometimes the whole screen gets like yellow and green, and I don't know why it's doing that. So apologies, I'm not a camera expert, I'm just a nerd. Keep in mind, when you see it with the naked eye, it won't look like that. So the thing is, the goal behind this was to give it a little more of a home style feel. It's still an RV, it still has those RV kind of feels, it's still generally an RV layout. But there's elements to this that feel a little bit more extended stay comfortable. When I walked in, I almost asked the question, did you guys go wide body? Because it felt huge in here. And I started standing back and piecing it apart, and I realized there's still an 8-foot standard body, but with the barreled ceiling and the fact that they went 18 inches deeper on the kitchen slide, it feels more spacious in here than any other Heritage Glen or Hemisphere I've ever been in. Heritage Glen and Hemisphere, by the way, are the same thing under two different names. This is not carpet. This is marine woven slide flooring. And although it doesn't match the main floor, which I do personally prefer, it's a higher grade material. And if you look at where it's positioned, like potentially in some kitchen spaces, it's more robust to like for cleaning and scrubbing. We'll give you more information on the kitchen in just a little bit here. One of the other newer things that's available on these is the capacity to be outfitted with a triple air system. It seems like more and more RVs are going to that. I believe by default this is dual air, but it has the triple air capacity. Now there are some additional accent lights like up here above the slides. Let me see if I can open the panel. It's kind of around the corner and over the shoulder. Hold on. Holy crap. Sorry. I'm bombing this video all of a sudden here. Hey, there we are. And the trick is, you notice how everything's starting to look yellow. I think my camera's picking up the yellow accent lights in those kitchens, and it's like skewing everything. So I'm going to leave those off. But to the naked eye, it doesn't do that. So apologies for that there. Very tall back here. They utilized a lot of that space for some overhead cabinetry. You saw in our flyby footage that is a sleeper sofa. It is a 2-seat sleeper sofa versus a 3, because again, it's not a wide body rig, but that left them room for some very nice side stands with very intelligent power outlet locations. I think it was last year they adopted what I refer to as the square flow windows. They have integrated day and night shades. Anything that opens for airflow does have a bug screen. I want to point that out because not all builders of square flow windows do that. I'll give you a sample of the things closed up later. But this right here is also something I like. Their theater seat it's a simple, non-powered ripcord theater seat, and I'm okay with that. Not everybody prefers that. I love the details though of the cup holders in the armrest. It's such a simple thing, but it's so handy. And it like you're like, well, I got cup holders here. Yeah, but not everybody always wants this folded down. Some people, oh, you're going to be difficult like that, are you? Okay. Some people prefer this a little more cuddle compliant, open like a love seat. So this still gives you that opportunity and that capacity. Now, it's a lot of campsite window coverage, but because they put a big pantry over here, it's not maybe 100% campsite window coverage, but I'm going to give it a pass. I don't think it's bad. It looks like they kind of took a little bit of a note from their cousin, the Forest River Impression. They're an extended member of the same family. And they, instead of traditional dining here, they went with a little bit of a mini work desk, which again has a touch of that home style feel. But to regain that dining space, they went with a little bit of a nerdism number 37, the Dynalind. And it's basically a dining island combo. Now, by default, it has 4 of these low back chairs. You could obviously, remove a couple of them. You could change them out with something else, or you could totally get them out of the way if you don't care about that. And that could be like a really nice, like, I don't know, you can throw your dog bed under that thing, or the dog dishes or cat dishes or something like that. I don't think people realize how many RVers are actually cat campers. That has become a large segment of the pet RV ownership population. And it's like nobody's realizing it here. Now, beyond the weather report, since we already have one pantry, and this is behind the entertainment, I think I'm going to give this the official nod of nerdism number 37, the Pantrytainment Center right here. There's actually some pretty solid shelving. Now, you notice I had to wedge a cutting board in here to keep it from closing. Because I sort of broke it. I'll make sure I get that reported, but that's my fault. That's not their fault. I was being clumsy and not paying attention. This might seem awkward and just kind of suddenly thrown in, but I forgot I was going to show you walking in the kitchen slide. So I asked my editor to punch this in wherever we can. But yeah, I mean, I'm literally standing in the slide box right here. I'm probably representing 6'2" on screen right now. So you can, even though the kitchen is pushed back, it makes the RV look and feel bigger. You can use all of the space normally without feeling like, you have to duck every time you want to get a bag of popcorn. The fridge, that is a 16 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. At a glance, the kitchen almost feels like, when I'm just walking through it, the kitchen maybe feels like it might be lacking slightly in some storage. But the more I opened this, the happier I became. Like, bigger oven. That cabinet on the right that's very tall and open, very handy for like baking sheets and stuff like that. Some easy reach power outlets on the left side of the stove there. The stove is not completely symmetrical, and that's so that you could get a couple, more functional drawer spaces. Big residential size microwave. This is all pocket screwed. Sorry, my brain just spaced out there. Anyway, hidden hinges on the cabinets is the next thing that I'm going to roll on before I have another stroke, apparently. You got that 5-piece TikTok, quote, smart sink or whatever with the solid surface counters there. The one thing I haven't really seen is a good dedicated space for a wastebasket. Other than that, I think they've nailed a lot of stuff. But the dedicated dishwasher down here, that's just not the kind of thing towable RVs in this price point are typically well known for having. Now, a couple other things here. I want to point out that when they made that kitchen slide deeper, it means that you have to walk into it. The good news, I'll demonstrate this in a second, the slide's tall enough, it's not a problem. But first of all, finishing up all the storage that we have here, I mentioned that you do have a dedicated handy pantry space right over here by the door. Also, they're not like file drawers next to the desk. They're going to just be conventional small drawers. It almost would be cool, I think, if the bottom drawers were combined so that you had something that was like file hanger depth. Couple extra details, though, here in the kitchen. I mentioned how this table has an extension, because as you're seeing it, the chairs are really squished together. And really, I almost think this is how it just should have been built. I think they didn't dedicate the bigger counter space here because they didn't want it to feel too blocked off when you first walked in. But when this is extended, I mean, we're in an RV. I think that's still a reasonable walk around space. The extra elbow room that you're going to get from the table in this arrangement, to me, makes all the difference. Like, I was kind of on the fence about it a little bit. That kind of brought it back into the realm of reality for me here. So backing up here, this middle room, you're either going to love it or hate it, I think is the best I can say. First of all, it is your traveling and or guest half bath. Like you can see, very fluffy, friendly, spacious around that. This big sink down here, it's large. It's a very large bathroom sink. A lot of times I'll see a sink like this in a small single axle camper in the kitchen, and people say, I don't like round sinks. But I feel like in a half bath / laundry room, I really like that. I think it's very large. You know, if you were kind of at the beach or something and you need a place to hang some beach towels, you got a few places there. They didn't try to put like some kind of loft or something above this, so the ceiling's extra tall, although you do kind of have some dust collector cabinetry. They didn't run the cabinets all the way up to the ceiling, which I feel would have been nice, but at the same time, this cabinetry, like, I can reach the handles. If it was much taller, I don't know how anybody would reach it, though. Part of me wants to criticize them for not throwing a shelf in that cabinet. But part of me thinks it's a good idea because, like, if you have big jugs of laundry detergent or something, I don't know that a shelf is going to be appropriate there. I'm not sure about this shelf over here, what you would do with it, but I love the fact that you have this, like, dedicated hanging bar right there. So, like, whether you're hanging clothes or jackets or closets, like, it could be so many different things. But as we come down, you might notice a huge chunk of solid surface countertop space, giving you an amazing work area for the whole laundry suite right here. And if you're like, I don't need this, I wish it had more sleeping, look at a mid bunk. This is a very intentionally different animal. But again, having things like the dishwasher, the washer dryer, more longer stay kind of appliances is just not the kind of thing you normally get in this class and price point. And I don't normally like to point you just straight up, but I noticed that this has that nicer XL vent fan in here, which is not what I was expecting. That's not something they tend to use a lot. Now, let's talk air conditioning real quick, because this thing has some serious cooling power. First of all, your main standard living room air is an 18,000 BTU Furrion chill cube, like Cougar, Brinkley, Ember, a lot of brands. Your bedroom air here will be a mini ducted system between the bedroom and the bathrooms, but then you still have that option of that third air conditioner. Now, the thing is, the airs that are ducted, they use a duct efficiency enhancement thing called the RV airflow system. So this rig has some very effective, maximally efficient airflow here. Now, I can't remember if they're still using some kind of Olympic Queen or some variety of RV King. Oh, hold on. The tag is sticking out. I can cheat. I can find out. If you don't know, by the way, when you're checking an RV in person, you can usually find out by looking at one of these. Of course, I have to find the correct tag. Hold on. Stand by. Okay, found it. 66 by 80. That's what's known as an Olympic Queen. Now, I'm sure on their website it says King, because the RV industry loves to take liberties with your bed sizing. But if you buy King sheets, they're not going to fit on this. But if you search Olympic Queen sheets, those will. That's what this one is. Now, they do something over here. I think it could be said it's maybe just a little cutesy, but I think it's also kind of cool. First of all, I'm going to kind of lay back on the bed. If you're watching, if you feel like it, you could mount a TV over that window, watch some TV at night. But the dresser over here, it feels really weird and asymmetrical, but it's because of the flow of the floor plan. Some decent dresser space. But you've also got this little personal vanity station, so you can see what you look like before you go out and face the neighbors. It could be a small mini desk space if you're a household that has like 2 laptop warriors. It's not going to be its primary function, certainly. Now, I have some personal love-hate things with this front big bathroom and ensuite. I want to mention once again that for whatever reason, the camera is reading this as the sickly yellow-green, like somebody's in the Matrix. And Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this because to the naked eye, it's not. So it, like on camera right now, this looks horrible, but to the naked eye, it looks much, much better. Now, it is still solid surface counters. They went with the double sink though. Personally, I have very little use for a dual sink, a dual lavatory. They did also go with a very cool backlit maximized mirror, which I do think is neat. It gives you an amazing view of yourself when you're in the shower, which is something that I try very hard to never imagine seeing myself. This, it's interesting to me. The half bath laundry room had the full-on XL vent fan. This is still a Max Air fan, but it's a smaller variety, but it does have a rain cover protector basically built right onto it. Now, the headroom in the shower, I thought was pretty darn fine. I didn't have any issues there. And Heritage Glen Hemisphere has kind of stepped things up. Their upper series here having like the nicer, one-piece fiberglass shower enclosure. And the toilet space around this thing is, I mean, fantastic. Actually, this bathroom is so big, I almost feel weirdly exposed when I'm in gigantic bathrooms like this. You ever stay in like one of those Vegas style hotels where it's just like the toilet's in the middle of a room? That's weird, right? I do appreciate that they have this good dedicated linen storage kind of built right in here. Like, that's very solid. And again, because they didn't have to try to make space for a washer dryer up here, since that's already dedicated in another room, they were able to use this space differently from most brands. Now, you don't have any storage kind of behind the mirror because it's just a mirror, but I don't necessarily think you're hurting for space down here by any stretch of the imagination either. Working our way up front, parts of this closet look and feel a little empty because we haven't moved in yet. I'll explain what I mean by that. First of all, the little bench down here I think could be handy, like if you want to sit down and put on some shoes. And for a second, I thought something was broken because these shelves are angled, and I realized that they're shoe shelves. You know, they're made that way on person. Some more, like this could be perhaps like socks and underwear space or something like that. I also appreciate, even though it's not massive, it's enough space where, for the small RV washer dryers that they use, that's a good load of laundry right there. I thought that was kind of cool, kind of smart. But where this looks kind of empty and barren, again, it's because we haven't moved in yet, because you have this full wraparound hanging bar right here. Because they didn't have to use any of the space for washer dryer hookups, this would look very full if you get fully moved into it. It's just one of those things you have to use just a little bit of your imagination to kind of connect those dots. Now, the road mode section of this video is going to be like a pair of underwear. It might be a little brief. When that super slide closes, you're blocked off from the living room stuff. You can get over here into the half bath laundry room. Technically, you can get up to the bedroom, but the bed is a Schwintek slide, so you probably should not occupy it while it's closed. And that's basically the Cliff Notes version of this, instead of me being long and lengthy and wordy. Sometimes I do try to edit myself, although now I'm still talking. Son of a gun. All right, now for towing this big boy here, you're going to want a big boy truck. I think you're probably at least going to want some variety of 1 ton. I don't know that you'll have to go to dually. I also don't know that at almost 43 feet long total, you're going to regret that for the extra stability that a dually provides you. So, little things to consider. Now, I do feel this is an RV that is going to be best utilized mostly at a destination. It is not by default as equipped for a lot of high mileage towing. And what I mean by that is it has a very base level generic pin box and suspension package. Those are things that for some dollars could be outfitted and upgraded differently, but that's for extra money. So you'll want to kind of consider that. Wrapping our way around the side here, I figured somebody might ask me where the propane was, because normally you see split side saddle storage propane, and they've just put both of them over here. We have our on-demand water heater. Apparently we have some wings for lunch. They look delicious. And our docking station here in this just expansive pass-through. This basement right here, this is what I call the New Jersey special, because you could fit 4 or 5 bodies in there, if you know what I'm saying. Little Sopranos action. Working our way around here. Hold up. It just occurred to me. I've never seen a lot of controls on a wall like that. I like that. You don't usually see her auto leveling over here on the campsite of the RV, but it's also, all of this is in an area that's easily accessible, but it's protected from sliding smashy smash cargo? That's kind of cool. I'm sort of liking it. Now, I noticed something. I didn't see this before. I hope I'm not going to break something. I'm wondering what this is. Oh, okay. This is an access panel for service work on your furnace. Awesome. I like how they did that. Sometimes it doesn't have to be flashy or fancy. It just has to be effective. The underbelly down here, we are heated. We are enclosed. Great extended season weather package on this. You see our gas grill quick connect right there. But notice they didn't force some kind of camp kitchen on us. More and more brands are moving away from those and giving customers more of a choice of how they want to, like, if you want to bring stuff, it's equipped, and if you don't, now it's just storage. Big fusion lights under the awning, that's the solid light beam. I think it's a little bit brighter than the ... Morse code style. The entry door here, something I noticed, obviously you got the larger grab handle, but also you've got the, for your key entry right there. You've got the bigger paddle to grab a hold of that. Now, this thing, being the size that it is, they did outfit this with a 6-point leveling system, which I think was a really good call, because otherwise this sucker would have just been so large, it would have been very unwieldy. Now, I'm not a super fan, typically, of outside speakers, but they put them right down here. Like, they built this entertainment behind that little desk area. How you doing, chicken nugget chubby dad bod reflection in the TV there. And they mounted these speakers not recessed, so you don't have a giant hole in the wall. Now, you have a tiny hole where the speaker wire feeds through, but it's mostly a surface mount, and it just feels less invasive, and it's down where you can actually hear it localized. The speakers are not up against the roof where you're going to, lose the things. Now, we are, I'm banging against the wall behind me here in this building. We are prepped and ready for a ladder. I dislike personally that this doesn't have a ladder equipped on it. I don't like, fifth wheels are so tall. I personally don't like it when they don't have a ladder. But notice that you have the receiver and your sewer hose tube all right down there where, they're going to be readily available, accessible, easy to reach. Now, something I didn't check. Okay, rack and pinion, both living room slides are rack and pinion. I also noticed, and I wish I could get this open, I'm sorry we're too close, but it looks like there's some bonus access storage over here behind the fireplace. And just to kind of finish things up, the lower deck slides, rack and pinion, it looks like our bed slide is a Schwintek system. Now, there's tons of RVs at the display. I got to keep clipping along. Check the links in the video description for pricing and availability on this. Remember, the Wildwood Heritage Glen and the Salem Hemisphere, literally the same thing. That's why they have the exact same model number. They are identical with the exception of the names and the stickers on the outside calling them something else. So you might see both listed on our website. They're the same thing. Short of that, who has something similar to this? Impression has something kind of similar. This is sort of flirting with some of those destination kind of trailers, but maybe you still want to move it now and then. It's kind of how this one hits me. This could be a snowbird, sunbird. I never thought of that. Wow. Well, hey, there you go. Different ways you can use it. So, till next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.